Hello, my loves. Today we're going to look at some more Reddit stories, and if you've enjoyed a Reddit story, why don't you consider hitting the subscribe button? Maybe that's the notification bell too, and let's start with today's story. Girlfriend keeps attacking me, exposed due to insipid replies. She has done it before too. I, 33-year-old, am stronger than her, 33-year-old, so she can't really hurt me unless she actually uses a weapon, but it's still not nice at all when she screams so loudly that my ears hurt. I am very sensitive to loud noise usually anyway, and then comes and attacks me. The first time she did it last week, she actually drew blood from scratching my arm, and the marks are still there 2 weeks later. The physical attacks started 2 weeks ago. She's a worrier, and I opened up to her and told her that because she worries so much about certain things, there are times when I'm afraid to share certain details about my life for fear that her response will actually just make the situation harder for me. I also told her that I've started getting rushes of adrenaline, like butterflies, in response to fairly normal stimuli. For example, when my phone rings, my stress hormones are out of whack entirely. She didn't like that at all and responded with rage about how I never address her emotions. She left it about that vague. When I tried to drill down, I got only more vagueness. After a while, I asked her why we're talking about her emotions when I'm the one raising the problem, and she said we discussed my problem and it's dealt with now. I can't remember what triggered it, but soon after that she pounced on me and scratched me, and I said to never do it again, but she did it again the next day and then a few days after that, as well as smash things around our apartment. Her reasons for doing so are vague and unclear to me. And her apology includes rationalizing her behavior by saying she is stressed. We both are. We're buying a flat together that is supposed to complete in 2 weeks, and that it's my fault for goading her. By goading, she means me trying to ignore her insults. Obviously, I am not without blame here, but really I was trying my best. I was a very good boyfriend to her. I went on fun adventures with her. I do way more than my share of the cleaning. I cooked a delicious home-cooked meal from scratch 5 to 6 times a week, as well as bring her lunch each day when she works from home. I do the shopping for said meals. I listen to her. And I generally loved her very well. Of course, she had things to bring to the relationship too. To add significant insult to injury, I am killing myself trying to run the release of an app one built from scratch. It's not a crazy amount of money, but it started to bring in about $4,000 revenue per month, which I obviously hope to grow further, and I feel that a big break is coming. What I'm really proud of though is that some of my users message me directly and tell me how much the app has helped them, which is so important to me. I've worked on this app harder than I've worked on anything my whole life, and a few nights ago, after the 3 physical attacks, she called me a scrub, meaning a lowlife, dirty, jobless man. I snapped at this point and haven't spoken to her since. I have been locked in my room all day, and she is trying to lure me out by leaving chocolates and water outside my door, and I just can't stand it and have nowhere to go. She has been funding the deposit for a new flat, and paying for lawyers, etc. She's a lawyer actually, so she makes a decent salary, and honestly at this point already I am starting to feel financially trapped. I feel cheated. I know women can give their man some shit sometimes, but this is too much and I just don't deserve it. I know I don't. She is extremely stressed with the flat, even more than I am, as it has been a messy and heartbreaking process that has lasted for 5 fucking months now. Anyway, it doesn't really matter because I am leaving her. I know now for certain after writing this that I need to leave her, but I'm in a fucked up situation now where I'm not making quite enough to rent a place with any ease at all in my current city, so I will need to legally pull out of buying the flat. I need to sell all of my stuff, and I will need to move to a different city where things are much cheaper. Story 18F LDR girlfriend expects too much from 18M, me, and I can't fulfill these needs. I don't know what to do. Recently, my girlfriend of 5 months and close friend of 4 years has been complaining almost every single day for around a month now about not receiving enough affection and reassurance from me. We are in a long-distance relationship and see each other around every 2 weeks for a couple hours, and during this time in person I am very affectionate and loving towards her. However, she complains that over text and on call I don't express verbal affection or reassurance enough. She feels that I treat her just like a friend rather than a girlfriend. She brings this up to me constantly, and the thing is, because my confidence is low right now and my mood hasn't been the best, it makes difficult to fulfill these needs she has. We'll call and she'll be a bit dramatic and start crying over it, God knows how many times, and she expects me to comfort her each time. It's exhausting. I say something slightly rude to her one day and she's bringing it up over and over again, complaining that I haven't apologized, but I don't see anything wrong in the stuff I was saying, so why would I say sorry? My girlfriend complains that during the first 2 months of our relationship, I was very loving, affectionate, and caring towards her, and she feels like I've changed. I don't really see much of a difference in my behavior, but I can see that I am upsetting her. She says she misses the way I used to treat her, but due to my current mental state, I just can't treat her the way I did in the beginning anymore. A close family member of mine is dying, and I recently went into another depressive episode. I've given her the option to leave the relationship if she's unhappy, but she doesn't want to do that. She feels taken for granted, but really I feel like she's blown this whole thing out of proportion, getting so upset over nothing really. She won't sleep all night because of it, and honestly it's draining to listen to her complain so much. I don't get what the big deal is, so what if I'm not treating her perfectly, if I'm not telling her why I love her? Why does it matter? I'm not treating her badly as such, I don't call her rude names and I make time for her. I used to write her long paragraphs and call her nice names and tell her the things I love about her, and I just don't have the energy or will to do that anymore. I used to tell her how much I love her and how much she means to me, talk about our future on the phone, but I just can't anymore. It's too difficult because of my depression. It's so hard dealing with her being so fucking emotional every day. She really needs to grow up, it's embarrassing really. She can't take accountability for her own actions and she's so stubborn. She feels bad sometimes, and when I give her advice she just gets mad at me instead of listening. She's such a child and it's really irritating. I'm growing so tired of her behavior overall. I know I can't meet her insane needs anymore and I will never be able to meet them. I've changed too much and she either needs to accept this or leave me. I just don't know if I'm really treating her as bad as she makes it out to be. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Any advice on how to handle this situation? Story: my boyfriend doesn't trust me. Hello everyone. Well, my boyfriend, 30-year-old, said he doesn't trust me, 25-year-old, today. I wasn't shocked because I kinda always knew what's on his mind sometimes. We've known each other for more than a year, been dating for 7 months. And from what he says, I am the love of his life, and he never felt like this towards another woman, which is actually true. I think he loves me too much in so many wrong ways. While at first everything was perfect, especially he knew everything about me and we were close friends before being in a relationship with him. So for logical reasons I assumed he knew my boundaries, but because we come from a very conservative community and families, so just for the sake to be sure, I always asked in the beginning of what's okay or not. I always initiated those convos, but he never did or tried. And he never told me anything that we disagreed on. We share the same lifestyle. After being in a relationship with him for a few months, he surprisingly opened up a very serious topic in the wrong timing and in a very harsh way. He started questioning me about my beliefs like he didn't know who I am, and literally he held a pen and a paper and started writing whatever I said. I felt terrified, especially because I really liked him and didn't understand what's going on. After what happened, I immediately communicated with him about how I felt and he apologized and felt guilty, and from that I didn't say anything since he seemed understanding. But for me it took me a while to get over it and he couldn't handle the change that happened. So it backfired into him being honest about everything wrong about me. I'll be listening it below. He wasn't okay with my socials to the point he blocked me everywhere cause it hurted him too much. Never communicated this with me because I'm totally okay to understand his point of view and respect his boundaries. He started getting annoyed because I have males in my socials to the point he asked me to open my phone for him to see their texts. I did. Started treating me badly, and I started doing the same for defending myself and then use my attitude as a weapon that I treat him badly. He told me today that he stopped believing anything I say, even or where I'm going, assuming I'll be going out with other boys. He even started hating other females who cares about me or show any type of affection, assuming they're lesbian. Disclaimer: he was in a relationship before where his partner lied to him about things, but not to the point where she cheated. Listen guys, I am willing to change for someone if I truly love, but not with a disrespectful attitude. I started not being honest about silly things cause I'm so afraid of how he would react or if he would judge me, and I truly hate that I started doing this. I am a natural giver person and I hate that he made me question myself. Plus I'm so upset that I was the honest person and I'm the one who showed him who I truly am in the begging. Why does he seems like he's shocked? Aside from that, I stayed, and why would someone stay if this is not what they want or they want to play around? I'm so confused and lost, and people tell me that's his issues and he should be the one who should work on it. But what if he doesn't believe that? He has zero communication skills and every topic turns into an argument, and because of that we rarely communicate. Story: boyfriend is sneaking drinks. Me, 25-year-old, and my boyfriend, 26-year-old, have been together for 8 years. We have 2 small children and I'm a som and he is a local truck driver. Up until recently, my boyfriend had been getting drunk every day. Not belligerently drunk, but enough to where he would slur his words and act out of character. His drinks of choice are beatboxes and capriccios. They are boxed/canned wine and he'd usually have 3 to 4 a day, if not more. This started about 10 months ago when our second was born and he went on paternity leave, and it just continued to spiral into a problem. Recently, I'd say starting about 2 to 3 months ago, we went through a super rough patch due to the alcohol. We would get into a small argument about something, and it would progress with him getting extremely disrespectful towards me, yelling, putting me down, accusing me of being unloyal over insanely small things, picking fights, etc. He even got physical one time when we were arguing and I started listening to music on a speaker and he wrestled it out of my hand and then threw and shattered my phone. This was happening so often that I was breaking up with him at least 2 times a week, only to forgive him the next day when he would say he'll do better. About 2 weeks ago, I told him I hit the limit and if he didn't stop drinking altogether then we were done. I made it clear that I don't want to force him to stop drinking, only that I no longer want to be in a relationship with him if he is going to keep drinking. He told me our relationship was more important and he wouldn't drink anymore. This lasted about a week, until he one day asked me if he can get 1 drink. I felt like I was controlling him, and so I told him if he feels like he can drink in moderation and not get disrespectful towards me then I wouldn't get upset. This was where I went wrong, I know. Since then he's been upping the amount of drinks, we're back at 1 to 2 a day. Today, he comes home with 1 beatbox. A couple of hours later he is super drunk and picking a fight with me. I know him very well and I know 1 beatbox doesn't make him this drunk. So I start to pry and ask, you only had 1 drink today? And he tells me yes. So I tell him I know he's lying and I can tell he's drunk. After a back and forth for a little bit, he finally admits he drank 1 more in secret. I know based on the way he's acting, it was more than 1, I don't even know what to do at this point. I'm so lost on whether I'm wrong to watch how much he drinks or not. I don't want to be in the relationship we were in a couple of months ago, and I feel like it's going to end up right there. I don't even think I'm mentally strong enough to break up with him unless he does something very wrong. My alcoholic BF told me he'd stop drinking, now he's sneaking drinks. Story: IF23 met M25 on vacation. I think I am cheating on my boyfriend, what now? I am 23 and I've been with my boyfriend A for exactly a year now. He is my first boyfriend. And he is also my second ever kiss. First time and everything. He's 26 years old and everything I ever wished for. I have waited my whole life for someone like him. And I am a conventionally attractive girl, who goes out every week, parties a lot and all of that, but no one ever caught my eye. I had high standards and my boyfriend A has been the only person ever I felt really attracted to. We have a beautiful relationship, built on chemistry, trust and an intense energy. He is charismatic, charming, intelligent, you get the picture. The thing is, I've been feeling weird ever since I met a new guy. Let's call this guy X. I went on vacation with 4 of my girlfriends in a city in the Balkans, where a lot of locals from our small country, Luxembourg, travel to. We have been here for 2 weeks and Sunday is our last day. On day 3 we met another group of guys from our country. 2 of my friends had a fling with 2 of them and started a sort of vacation romance with them, which led both our groups to spend almost the whole vacation together. X, the new guy I mentioned before, is part of this group. We all got along super well and had lots of fun. It was all very just friendly between the rest of us, besides the 2 new couples. So the days go by and we all get to know each other better. Inevitably, you gravitate towards people you have more chemistry and balance with. So I noticed X slowly always getting closer to me. Not in a flirty way, at least at first. It was just more him sitting always next to me, talking more to me than anyone else. Usual things that happen naturally, I guess. Even though both groups were now together all the time, I found spending my time almost exclusively with X. We would isolate ourselves from the rest of the group and talk just to each other. I pretty soon found out he also has all the qualities my boyfriend has. He's smart, charming, super attractive. He even looks a bit like my boyfriend. They are also both gym guys and have the same body, lol. And as I said before, my boyfriend has always been the only person I met with all these characteristics that attract me. And now I am spending time with the second ever person I meet that is my absolute type. After the first days, things between X and I started feeling different. I became aware of the energy between us. And while I wasn't doing anything wrong, it felt weird. I suddenly realized the way he talks to me is low-key flirty. I kinda realized he is always searching some physical contact. Be it a hug or touching my arm. And it was hard, but I realized I liked it. We started getting closer. When we sat together, the space between us started getting smaller, for example. The kisses on the cheek started becoming frequent. We talked and talked and talked while all the others were back at their respective hotels. And until then I never had done something wrong per se. But 2 days ago we were both on a sort of couch at a club and we hugged. We were drunk. He started kissing my neck. I let him do it for at least 4 to 5 seconds before stopping him. He said he's sorry. I asked him to never do it again and got up, went back to the group. He ended up going back to his hotel. The day after we acted like nothing happened. Then at night he got very drunk and told me he likes me. But he is trying to stop himself, 'cause he respects me, 'cause I have a boyfriend. Then he said he never felt such a strong attraction to anyone. I just told him he's too drunk and tried to stop the conversation. Later on at the club we ended up dancing together. I was stupidly drunk too, and our way of dancing was honestly a bit too much. We were very flirty with each other. At the end of the night we had to get a taxi, and I ended up sharing it with him. We were both get up drunk. He hugged me. And kissed me. I stopped him. He apologized again. I told him we'll talk tomorrow. Today, when we met up again, I asked him to just stay away from me from now on 'cause things are getting out of hand. He said okay, he will. And then looked down the whole day. Our group noticed, they know stuff is going on, but they all tried to stay out of it. He managed to keep his distance the whole day. Now I was in my hotel to get ready for tonight and he calls me and says he's on my floor and asks me to come out of my room. I exit my room, determined to tell him I don't want him to come here. I find him standing against the wall, with tears on his face. He says he can't stop thinking about me. He starts saying he wasn't lying when he said he never felt like this for anyone. He says he literally craves my touch and my attention. He tells me he knows this is egoistical of him, but he's confessing 'cause he thinks I may feel the same way about him. And he says he wants to hear the truth from me. I tell him I have no clue about what's going on. 'Cause it's true. I don't know if this is a simple attraction that happens, nothing serious. I don't know if it goes beyond. I have almost no experience with these things cause I have never felt this way besides with my boyfriend. It does feel similar to when I met my boyfriend, yes. But I have real feelings for my boyfriend and those are surely, certainly, stopping a potential intense crazy attraction and limiting it to a simple one. And I tried to explain this to him. I simply don't know. He asked me to please understand myself and then give him an answer. He also said I will understand more about it if I allow myself to kiss him properly. He apparently knows it's a lot he's asking for and he knows it's morally wrong but insisted it's the only thing that will make me understand. The crazy part is I have been contemplating it. This happened 1 hour ago. And it's why I am writing this post. I don't understand what's going on. Is what I am feeling a crush? If I have to be honest, I crave his touch too. I like being with him. I love spending time with him. I feel something, I feel butterflies when I am with him. I am 100% sure I am already at least emotionally cheating, and the realization is breaking my heart. My boyfriend doesn't deserve this. I love him, I really do. I have never ever even looked at other guys since I met him. I just don't understand myself nor what I am doing. We will soon all meet up and go clubbing and I fear that something will happen. Plus, this isn't something that will end here after this vacation. X lives 20 to 25 minutes from me. Our country is small. I am so confused right now. I wish I could tell my boyfriend straight away what happened, but I'll tell him as soon as I am back, that's for sure. I don't know how he will react. I fear he might break up. He would never expect something like this from me. I am disappointed in myself. How bad is this? How do I make everything okay again? How much of this is my fault? What should I even do? I've been with my boyfriend for a year and love him deeply. While on vacation, I met a guy, X, and we got close. Despite my efforts to keep things friendly, we flirted and kissed. X confessed his feelings, and I'm confused because I have feelings for him too. I feel guilty about emotionally cheating on my boyfriend and plan to tell him when I return. What should I do? Story: I fall in love, F25, with my male friend, M25. Missing him and questioning if I am delusional. I have met my friend 10 months ago. From the very beginning it clicked as we have similar sense of humor, perception of reality, and music taste. Normally, we ate together in the canteen or went for a walk. Later, friendship has developed as to our pair joined other male friends. In December I felt that I had feelings for my friend and was even ready to broach the subject further, but at some point he stopped talking to me. My friend is an introvert and I have an assumption that he is also autistic. He is also a genius, who is playing a lot of computer games. He got back to me after the Christmas break so that we could get together and exchange our adventures from the festive period. In the meantime, I had developed feelings for another boy and decided to continue a friendly relationship with my friend. In the meantime, this other boyfriend broke my heart, but this did not change the attitude towards my friend, with whom we were alone at the theater or restaurant at the time. At the same time we spent a lot of time in our uni group of friends. I am only female within the group. The emotional situation changed during one of the university trip during which we spent a lot of time together. When we returned, we still went to the cinema together and I actually tried to spend more time with him, but, as in December, he suddenly cut off contact with me for some time. I can't hide the fact that it broke my heart, but I kept my head busy with exams and dealt with these emotions. Later on, we started spending more time in our pack of friends, not separately, again, and at the last party after graduation we chatted with each other for half an evening, sipping wine from the same bottle. The next day, while driving home, something inside me snapped and I spent the whole day crying thinking about him. I thought that with time these feelings would pass, but now when I think of him I feel very sad and torn all the time. We are now in contact because he asked me for help with one issue. But the whole situation makes me ruminate even more on the emotions that have risen within me. I've started to ask a lot of questions. It seems to me that this kind of soul connection is the key to a relationship, but it's really hard for me to judge because I've never been in a relationship. I managed to become friends with his friends, who are from his high school. With them we have a very good connection to the point that I started spending time with them separately as well, and we established a deep relationship, especially with his BFF girlfriend. In turn, when we needed help with something, even the smallest thing, we always turned to each other, not to other friends in the group. Maybe it's just a beautiful form of friendship. Really, I don't know, maybe it's all just sitting in my head. I'm also holding back from taking steps because I found out, but not from him, that during uni my friend rejected 2 girls who proposed to him to move the relationship in another direction. However, it seems to me that the relationship with them was not that deep. He has just moved month ago to the other country. I met my friend 10 months ago, and we immediately clicked due to our similar sense of humor, perception of reality, and music taste. Over time, our friendship grew, but in December, just as I was developing romantic feelings, he suddenly stopped talking to me. Although my feelings evolved and were complicated by another relationship, my bond with him remained strong, leading to moments of closeness and abrupt distance. Now, as we maintain contact, I'm left questioning whether our connection is just a deep friendship or something more, especially since he has previously rejected romantic advances from other girls. Story, boyfriend, 24M, says he's checked out and only I, 24F, can fix the relationship. Should I stay? I'll start by saying I know that if I'm here asking this it probably isn't great, but I also like to make sure I'm getting fair advice when trying to share both sides. Me and my boyfriend have been talking for over a year, dating for 8 months. It started off as a super casual thing since we were both recently out of relationships, and then it ended up developing into a relationship later on. I'm not going to lie, I've always had my suspicions on how much he likes me versus how much the relationship was based off convenience. He never asked me to be his girlfriend, he just eventually said one day he started telling people I was his girlfriend because it was easier than explaining what we were doing. He's never been super physically intimate outside of sex, and even our sex life isn't per se romantic or intimate ever. A month or 2 into us actually dating I found out he was actively using Tinder and messaging other girls, which I brought up but with grace since I knew we did kind of weirdly transition from something casual to something committal. Probably my initial mistake in hindsight, maybe I should have just left there. He was very apologetic at first, but I'll wrap back to this later. I've planned and organized every trip and event we've ever been to together. Got him things for Christmas, his birthday, Valentine's Day. None of this has ever been reciprocated. I haven't been able to get him to ever really do things with just me, go to the beach on weekends, go out for coffees, etc. He just stays home and games, and I DoorDash every meal. He gets upset at me really often, which is usually due to my avoidance, which I 100% do have avoidant tendencies and acknowledge and try to work on, that ends up triggering him getting anxious and small problems turn into big yelling matches. He claims my lack of communication shows I don't care and don't take the relationship seriously, which I just have a hard time justifying given the effort I put it to every other aspect of this relationship. We're now kind of in this cycle that anytime I get avoidant, he either blows up with anxiety or re-downloads Tinder to start looking for other options. He used to feel bad whenever I would find out he was using Tinder, but now it's turned into like a punishment I should expect for being avoidant. This has now happened 5 times, the most recent on Monday, leading to an argument that ended in him saying that if I still want to be together I have to be the one to fix it as he is checked out. Meanwhile, he was the first one to say I love you, has said many times he wants to marry me, talks about our future together, which just really confuses me. I do love him and we do want and value similar things in life, but I'm not sure if this is actually something that will just go away and be fixed with me having better communication, or if that's just a scapegoat being used to excuse poor behavior. Do you think the relationship worth trying to fix, or should I walk away? Should I break up with my boyfriend who doesn't seem that into me, or try to fix the relationship? Story, we, 24F, 24M, ended things due to distance. Why can't I get over it? Hello. I, 24-year-old, met someone, 24-year-old, at a work-related event which started as a friendship for a day or two, then a fling, and by the time the event was done, 2 weeks, we both caught really strong feelings for each other. It was totally unexpected, and I can confidently say I have never felt genuine feelings for someone like this before. We both told each other that we had feelings and were sad to say goodbye. For context, we both live in major cities which are a 4 to 5 hour commute away. After the event was over and we went back to our cities, we had a conversation about what to do. He and I agreed that starting a relationship from distance wouldn't be possible for us, but we were both devastated that this was the case. He asked me if we could still be friends and I agreed, partially because I still had some hope about it working. Over the next few weeks we were in contact every single day, and my feelings for him just got stronger. I had no idea what to do. By coincidence, I was going to the city he lives in for a weekend with some friends. I let him know I was going to be in town and he asked to see me platonically. I think we both knew it was not going to be a platonic meetup. Well, we met and it was fantastic. We went on a date and afterwards agreed that we couldn't be just friends. We discussed how we felt over the last few weeks and basically said everything short of I love you. He told me he was also thinking about me non-stop the whole time we were away from each other and how he was so happy to see me. Again, I've never felt like this for someone before. The next day, I had to go somewhere and we decided to meet again that night and have a conversation about where to take this. I went into the conversation asking him if he wanted to try distance. Unfortunately, he said he still thinks he can't after thinking about it during the day. He didn't want us both be hurt in the future when it might not work out. He told me he got burned pretty badly in the past when he had a relationship end due to distance. I didn't ask about the specifics. He said if it wasn't for the distance we would absolutely be dating/trying for a relationship. I didn't ask him to reconsider, but I was super upset because I feel like this was something that could have been really great. I told him I couldn't be friends with him anymore because I knew it would be too painful for me and he agreed. A couple days later I called him to get some final words in because I was too upset to fully say everything in person. I told him I didn't think it was a good idea that we saw each other again even knowing that we probably wanted different things regarding distance. He agreed and said he was still trying to decide, but apologized regardless. Then when we were starting to say our final goodbyes, he said, well, whenever you're ready to be friends again, let me know. And I was sort of shocked, because in my mind this was essentially a breakup. And he explained that it would be completely platonic, but he would like to be friends one day. I said I don't know if it would be possible for me to ever be friends with him. And that was it. I thought I would be over it by now, but I literally cannot stop thinking about him. I have never been a person to push for anything relationship-wise, but I would do just about anything to make this work. I feel as if his last comment about being in contact one day was leaving the door open. I have no idea if I should let it go, or reach out again one day, which I know is not the best idea and might make me seem crazy. For now I am taking space to see how I feel later. Any advice would be appreciated. Met someone who I think is fantastic, however, he cannot make it work due to distance. Is there any hope? Story, feels stuck in my F31 relationship. Partner, M31, shows narcissistic tendencies. Don't know what to do. Hi, my partner and I have been together for 5 years. Engaged for 1. Our relationship started out great and have lived together for 5 years. I work in the same city as where we live. He works 5 hours away as a firefighter, so works 24-hour shifts. He is borderline alcoholic. I don't drink because family has had alcoholics in it. Excess drinking is a trigger for me and he knows it. He never gets drunk in my presence while we are dating. Our relationship started out great. We fell in love pretty quick and saw each other every weekend. We decided we wanted to move in together after almost a year of dating. We decided that it would be easier for him to move up here since he only works 10 days a month. He could come and go at easier points of time and miss hard traffic. So he moved up and I moved 20 minutes to our new house. Things were not great from the start. He was very possessive of our house from my parents, who are my best friends and who I remain very close to. He was not like this at all while we were dating. I lived with them, for crying out loud. New rules are placed on me. I'm made to feel like I'm not allowed to hang out with my friends that are guys. I'm not allowed to just have my parents come over and hang out. A few months go by and he moves stations thinking this is gonna be good, it's chill, he can relax. No. He gets into a depression. So I try everything I can to help him out of it. I drown my own feelings and concerns to put him first and help him get through it. This turns into everything becoming about him, how it makes him feel, how it affects him. I chalk it up to depression and don't fight against it. He starts drinking. I try to get him to not drink to the point of passing out and ask him to put them down on several occasions. He blows me off. I try to ignore it. He tries to hide a 12-pack from me. I find the box in the trash. I am upset and let him out that I am upset. This destroys my trust in him. If he hides this, what else is he hiding? A few months go by and I realize that my own well-being has become tied up in him. I start seeing a therapist. I start to get my confidence back to be my own person again. I start asking for things in our relationship. To be seen as someone he loves and not a roommate or a convenience. Nothing changes. I ask for him to help give a little into our relationship so I'm not the only one holding it together. Nothing changes. He never has any answers to my questions or comments about our conversations. But the minute I call him out on things, he tries to change the conversation or just shuts down. A few weeks go by and I ask again. Nothing changes. At this point, I am convinced that he has completely checked out from our relationship and has found someone else to get what he's not getting from me. I don't even know what that is. I go through his phone. I immediately regret my decision as it is a huge breach of trust, but I did it anyway. I don't find cheating, but I find that he has been confiding in other people about our relationship. Meanwhile, he tells me I'm not supposed to confide in my own mom about our relationship. I lie to him when he asks me about it. Which wasn't a good thing to do. He distances himself further. The truth comes out. I apologize profusely. Nothing I do seems to make up for it. Weeks go by and I ask again for help in our relationship to make it better. To help heal what I caused. Nothing. Instead, I am met with resentment. New rules are placed on me that I have to follow. Meanwhile, he can do whatever he wants. My mom is turned into the bad guy because I fill her in on what is happening in my life. I am treated worse as a result. He starts making me feel like I have to pick between him and my family. Meanwhile, my family are the ones supporting me and helping me deal this while he retreats even more. He tries to manipulate me into thinking everything I do is wrong when it's something for me. Every few weeks I ask to have help fixing our relationship. Nothing changes. He then asks if we can move because the drive has become too much for him. He then gets pissed at me for not saying immediately yes. We start paying to couples therapy. He never once apologizes for treating me like crap. He never admits he did anything wrong. He starts playing mind games with me. I make a point in saying that our relationship needs to be fixed before we move or it will be the same problems in a new place. It then suddenly becomes too much for him to do it. He has to move in order to make the effort in our relationship. Nothing else will fix it. Nothing I do now will help make his life better. We have hard arguments. One leads to almost complete breakdown. I call my mom and tell her what happened because I am freaking out. He resents me for calling her. For including her in our relationship. Now it's me versus you and your mom. He tells me that it's because of how awkward things are with him and my parents now that they know what's going on. And that it's my fault that they don't like him. Still doesn't take responsibility. We get into more arguments. He can't see why it's so hard for me to do this for him. He can't see how the whole last year has been absolute shit and how this is supposed to make it better. He can't understand why I'm not excited for it. He wants me to make up shit to my own family about why we are moving because he don't want them to know the real answer. He then has the balls to ask me why doing this just to make his life easier isn't enough. I don't know what to do at this point. My brain says leave. Hell, half my heart says leave. The other half says move and see what happens. The fuck? Story, I, 35F, asked my boyfriend, 43M, if having me in his future was worth standing up to his dad. He said he needed to think about it. I'm crushed. The background, his family owns a farm. I've always wanted the farm life. Not exactly this kind, but I'm more than happy to make compromises. His mother is from an oil family, so she's got a pretty large trust from that. A few years ago, she came to us and told us she'd like to pay for us to build a house on the farm. I am eternally grateful to her and all her kindness, which I frequently express to her. After a lot of discussion, my boyfriend decided he instead wants to build a shed where he can work on machinery as an additional way to make money. I understood his reasoning, and after checking with his mother, it was agreed upon. We planned to build a much smaller home near it. That smaller home Aldi ended up getting scratched, and he decided to build a residence inside the shed. Again, I relented. His mother had cashed out an annuity, and when the check arrived, it had both her name and her husband's name. He immediately cashed it into his account and sent a check to the shed company as a deposit. He always does this kind of stuff. He's a selfish man who only sees his wants and his needs and is oblivious to everyone else. Because of this, and because of him taking over the shed project, we've been concerned he views the shed as his, not as our home. Sure enough, he'd spoken to his wife and mentioned that we would be just getting a travel trailer. And that's where we'd live. When she told him that wasn't the plan she heard, he just ignored her. Now, my boyfriend never stands up to his father. He's basically his yes man, as he was raised to be. I explained to my boyfriend that he couldn't do that with the residence. His mother is entirely paying for it, giving his father no say in it. So he just needs to stand up to his dad and tell him that's not what we're doing. We argued for a while over it. Have been for the last couple months, actually. I told him this is my home and my future. It's his mother's money, and we're already changing what she originally wanted it used for. We eventually got to the point where I told him that there were two options. The easy one, he comes to the farm alone and lives in a travel trailer and I go my own way. Or, we talk to his dad and try to find a compromise. After a very long time of him considering this, he responded, "Can I have more time to think about it? There's so much more to add to our relationship woes. But so much good, too." He's selfish, just like his dad, but he listens. He communicates. But I have to ask for everything. He never takes time on his own to think about me. I've come to terms with this. I am genuinely happy in this relationship. Right now. But now I'm so terribly afraid I may not be in the future. Especially a future I'm not getting any say in. I don't know if this relationship is even worth staying in anymore. Story, I got drunk and slept with my boss. How do I talk to him about it? I'm a 26-year-old, got drunk and slept with my boss, 32-year-old, and I don't know what to do about it. I've never done anything like this before. This past Tuesday was a really bad day at work. We got threatened with a lawsuit, and on top of that everything else seemed to be going wrong. Work ends late for us. My boss and I were the last ones there. We had been talking about how we needed a drink all day long, and that was going to be the first thing we both did as soon as we got home. It was just one of those days. So he invited me to go grab a drink. This isn't super unusual for the people I work with. We all actually like each other, for the most part, and some people hang out outside of work. I've never gone out for a drink with him solo though. So we went to a nearby bar. I had a few drinks. It doesn't take too much for me to get drunk, but normally I have full control over myself, like I just don't get that drunk that I do embarrassing things. Well, I rarely get that drunk, let's say. Can't claim it's never happened. Having sex with a coworker or a random person is definitely not something I've ever done when drinking. We ended up back at his place and had sex. I slept there, and the next day I could remember the details clearly enough. It was so embarrassing. I woke up at around 5 a.m. and got an Uber back to work where my car was and went home before I had to be at work for the day on Wednesday. On Wednesday, we avoided each other the best we could and only spoke briefly when it was absolutely necessary for the job. Luckily, I had pre-scheduled vacation time Thursday and Friday, but I work again tomorrow. The anxiety of facing him again is making me sick. And I'm sitting here at home wondering if everyone knows. What if he told somebody? The thing is that am very attracted to him, but he was my boss, so what could I do? I also could never tell if he was interested in me at all because he's sort of aloof and it's hard to gauge him sometimes. We got along great though, and this is the best place I've ever worked, so I don't want this to completely screw all of that up. What's the appropriate thing to do here? I feel like I should say something to him about it, but I don't know what to say or how to bring it up. Maybe I should just not mention it and continue to let things stay awkward indefinitely, but it's so uncomfortable. I want to just clear the air about it, but what do I even say? I got drunk and slept with my boss. Now things are really awkward at work. I want to talk to him about it to maybe clear the air, but I don't know how to bring it up or what to say. Story: my girlfriend, 31F, and I, 30F, recently started having problems with our long-distance, 2 hours, KT polyamorous relationship. Things related to cutting back on communication, how much I get to see her, as well as the So some backstory: I have autism, social anxiety, and ADHD and have never been able to get a partner or make many friends. My whole life I could never fit in, was bullied for being too feminine, and could never figure out the complicated feelings about my identity since I was 8. I came out as a trans woman around 2019, and 2022 to 2023 when I felt comfortable with my progress I finally started being able to live life basically. Going outside, sort of talking to people, feeling comfortable wearing slightly feminine clothes and makeup. But I still lack friends and a support network. I have no LGBT+ community in this small Texan town in the middle of nowhere, and the 2 trans people that I managed to befriend in 4 years all left me. They were like giant stars in my night sky, and I think I pushed them away by overwhelming them with my intimate feelings. And my social anxiety and gender dysphoria cripples my self-confidence and self-esteem a lot of the time. My girlfriend similarly says her life didn't start till 2022 to 2023 because of transitioning. But she has had many friends and connections in her life, even since college. She has a partner of 10 years, 2 of those years married. Successful background in computer science. No struggle when it comes to finances, etc. Been dating my girlfriend almost 4 months now. We met on her lesbian dating app, sort of clicked being the only 2 Asian trans women on the app. We talked a lot, hit it off, and I eventually drove 2 hours to see her in the big city after a week or 2 of us talking non-stop lovey-dovey on Discord. Our first date was amazing even if it was just the mall and boba. She was so beautiful, intelligent, and made me feel cared for. And something so simple like being able to lay my head on her lap became a cherished memory for me. I drove up there to see her every 2 weeks since. We moved very fast because of how infatuated we were, mine still going particularly strong, while hers became more stable about a month or 2 ago. She said her infatuation for me not being strong anymore wasn't an indication of her losing love for me, but a sign her love for me was strong and stable, no longer overwhelmed by the anxiousness infatuation brings. Every day we'd text on Discord. Good mornings, good nights, I love yous, nice conversations about our day or things going on every 2 or 3 hours. And we agreed to do a weekly video call every Wednesday because the time in between my visits was lonely and I wanted to see her face and spend time doing fun stuff like gaming with her for a few hours. When I was there with her, we'd plan our 2 days together around cool places to go get food and try new tastes, fun things like thrifting for clothes or her introducing me to LGBT plus spaces to make up for what I didn't have in my city, or trying to get me to meet and talk with her friends or her non-binary partner, or we'd spend some time at her house just cuddling in bed and doing other intimate things. Eventually we started having tiny problems that kept piling up. The first was that I was texting her a lot and expecting fast responses. She has a remote job and only works 6-ish hours, but I know that's no excuse. She says she's never been a big texter, not even with her married partner, but for me texting is on par with showing love, like quality time together but digital. The second was that I was asking to see her too much, and she said spending 2 whole days with me is overwhelming enough as it is because she usually plans things for the whole month for every day and hour. She says she cherishes her friends as much as her relationships, and dedicates hanging out with them for a few hours every week on specific days. She says me living in her city would be more ideal for her type of scheduling and quality time together. She also says she needs her alone time, which she rarely gets because of how her schedules are set up. The third was that she was being overwhelmed by my love for her. Mostly when I would say things like "you're the only one for me" type statements or "you're my one true love," a life partner, I would always tell her about how happy she made me, how I feel no one else could ever come close to her. Eventually, starting 10 or so days ago, a mixture of these 3 things resulted in her saying she's de-escalating our relationship. She says we're still girlfriend and she still loves me romantically and sexually, but she doesn't see me as a life partner anymore, someone she can grow with and be there in her life for a long time. She says that if I lived in the same city as her this could possibly change, but she's not promising anything because it's unfair to do so. That there are many things she can't do over the internet, like conflict management. She says if she didn't set these new boundaries going forward, her love for me was going to continue waning like it's been for a while, which she didn't tell me, and that she hopes by keeping me at an arm's length, that she'll be able slowly recover her love for me. The first boundary she set is that I can't expect her to reply to my messages within a set time anymore. And she said she doesn't want to be expected to say good night and good morning every day because they felt like obligations. I never made her. I feel it's unfair because she does it with her partner all the time, whom she lives with. I never used to say good morning or good night before I met her. I don't even do it with my parents when I'm living with them. But it's become a thing of affection for me to say it to the person I love now. It just feels like she's trying to cut me out of her life more than I already am, thanks to us being long distance. If someone is your partner, shouldn't you try to incorporate them into your life, not cut them out? It just feels like she only wants me to be in her life for certain parts. The second boundary is that she's increasing the time between visits from every 1.5 to 2 weeks to 2 to 3 weeks. She says it's because she needs alone time and time to decompress, and that seeing me so frequently was overwhelming her. She also says that when I see her again things are going to change from how it was before, but has yet to figure it out. I think she's trying to make it so we don't just have a whole day of the visit being just us being in the house, canceling our plans to go be lovey-dovey on the bed. And the third boundary was what I mentioned earlier, refraining from "you're my life partner, the only one for me" type statements. She says she doesn't see me as someone she can grow with and be in her life a long time, but how can we be in a relationship if she doesn't see me as someone she can grow with? How's it going to thrive and not stagnate with no growth? And there's obviously a ton more context for why we've been rocky, like how I'm lacking life experience, or how an argument we had about beauty standards for women made her feel bad about her own body and that I didn't comfort her right or see her point, which she attributes to us still being fresh in a relationship and me not knowing when to try to make her feel better and when to just listen. TLDR, I feel like my kitchen table polyamorous relationship is really rocky right now, and because of my own shortcomings, and how it makes me needy, it's overwhelming her to the point she had to set new boundaries, but these new boundaries feel extremely unfair to me and feels like it's just benefiting her and there's no middle ground we reach together, and it's causing me to feel like she doesn't love me and is aiming to break it off. Story, I, 24M, think I don't love my girlfriend, 26F, anymore. Can anyone give me advice on how to get out of this? I, 24-year-old, have been with my girlfriend, 26-year-old, for about 3 years now. I don't think I love her anymore. I feel stressed when she is around. I enjoy being by myself more. I have tried everything to fix this. We've had long and hard discussions about how we can fix it. We've tried to spice things up. We've tried, and I'm so tired of trying. I don't think she is a good person. I often feel like the Jiminy Cricket on her shoulder, like she looks to me for advice on what the right thing to do is. She works dead-end jobs with no aspirations of doing anything with her life. She smokes so much and I am sick of breathing it in. She often tries to make me feel bad for having a dream for my life. Once, she smashed a glass on her forehead so I would stop talking about how unhappy I was with our relationship. I feel so clocked out, but I'm so scared to break up. I realize that I'm the only one standing in my way, but I've never had to do this before. My past relationships lasted only 1 month to 3 months, so this feels different. I often fantasize about having an affair or being with someone else. I don't want to have sex with her anymore, and I fantasize about being with someone else when we do. It feels like a chore to even kiss her. She likes to make it out that I've never done anything for her, but I've taken her on dates, we've traveled together, I cook and clean, I've taken care of her, all while trying to balance it with my work life. She makes me feel worthless. She hates taking care of me when I'm sick. She refused to get me medicine once when it was raining, so I had to walk in the rain while ill to get my own medicine. She's so lazy. She's the laziest person I know. As I type this out, I'm realizing so much I don't like about her. She doesn't exercise and hates any and all physical activity. I love being active, and she would never play a game or do a sport with me. She flirts with other men to get a rise out of me and even gaslights me when I catch her. Honest to God, the biggest reason why I stay with her is because it'd be too expensive and a hassle to move. But I think I have to nut up and just take the financial hit because I am so depressed. There is no love anymore. I feel dead to the relationship. When a close family member passed away, their first response was, "Hey, pal. How's it hanging?" There is no empathy. There is no room for my feelings. There is no room for me to grow or feel good. It's all just a never-ending pit. She is the most miserable person I know. She is jealous and petty and judgmental. She embarrasses me in front of people I like by saying personal stuff about me. She is cruel and a small person in character. I don't respect her. I think it's time to end it. I think it's time to start over. It's just so hard to think about having to begin again. I am scared and worried and don't know what to do, but at the same time I know exactly what to do. What do you all think? I really need other people to motivate me out of this, as I can't do this alone. I don't like my partner anymore for many reasons, and I am too anxious to leave. Story, I F23 had my first time with M28 on vacation. Now he is staying in my country. Almost sure he is involved in illegal stuff. What to do? The reason I held on to my virginity until very recently is 'cause I just wanted to lose it with someone I really felt attracted to. Both physically and energy-wise. I am a party girl in the sense that I go out clubbing every week, and as a normal-looking beautiful girl I get approached a lot, but no one ever caught my eye the way this guy X did. I met X on vacation in Spain a month ago. He approached me like a gentleman, and this plus his insane attractiveness just got me. Long story short, he was my first that night. I still can't believe the intensity of it all. I spent the rest of my 8-day vacation sleeping with him the whole time. We would hang out together every day. I literally never felt anything like this. With him I felt like in a movie. In those 8 days I experienced so many crazy things. I would never imagine I'd do stuff like that so soon. We had S3X and a taxi at the shopping center on a random street. I am not proud of what I did. I know some of it is totally dumb and irresponsible, but I'll be honest, I was in complete ecstasy and like I was mentally not really on Earth. I felt Drew 99 Ed even when sober. That's the effect the attraction I felt to him had. The issue comes now, while I was there just shortly, I couldn't not notice a certain lifestyle he seems to live. He tried to hide it, but my friend, who was very awake and present, confirmed my suspicions 100%. He seems to not have a real job but has a very, very nice place. Lots of cash. Some type of tattoos. 3 nice, expensive cars parked in his garage. The way people greet him. The talking in people's ears. He's from Albania, I am Italian. We have so many similarities in culture. There are some patterns I can't help but recognize. My dad was a DR2G dealer for 20 years of his life. He ended up in jail when I was 9. I know the signs. I can smell these people. I know X has shady stuff going on. I stalked his old FaceApp 00K profile and I found some evidence he may have been in prison before. A week ago he landed in my country, here in Germany. He had a friend come pick him up. The same friend rented him a nice car for his whole stay here, 2 months. After he got to his Airbnb and got ready, he came to pick me up and it was fireworks, even more than when I last saw him. Our chemistry has done nothing but grow like crazy in the last week. And that's so scary. We have been spending a lot of time together and he has been an angel to me. He seems to know his way around here. He takes me to nice places and just doesn't seem like a foreigner, how to say. He also knows lots of people. He has meetings with his friends at least twice a day. I once accidentally happened to see 2 of these guys from far and they seemed like 2 regular business people in suits. When he is not with me, he's driving around the city and going to see his cousins or friends. He is busy. He is busy in a city where he doesn't live? In a city where he wasn't even supposed to be. He doesn't work either. When we were on vacation I asked where he worked and he told me he works for his uncle's constructions company. I couldn't keep myself from immediately looking at his hands, which are super clean. He noticed and said he's been in sick leave for 2 months now cause of an injury in his leg. His leg works perfectly fine, his phone is also buzzing so often. His main used app is Signal, which is an app that can't be traced. The issue is that while in just 1 week all these suspicions are getting bigger. Our bond is growing. He isn't love bombing me. He isn't talking about big things nor promising me the world or other stuff that would immediately make my alarm bells ring. But he's showing me affection and respect. We are sleeping together more than once a day. And each time gets more intense. We are getting to know each other. He had a similar childhood than mine. But I didn't actually tell him about my dad. He seems emotionally intelligent and mature. I've explained to him that it's not the fact that he was my first that makes him special. It's the unexplainable energy and attraction I feel. He stimulates me in ways I've never been stimulated before. He's not fake. He seems to be so genuine and authentic. We've had so many conversations and I feel like I always learn something from him. He has been here for a week and he's already learned some German phrases. I know it may seem like nothing, but all these qualities are what makes my attraction grow. He is an absolute social butterfly. He has only met my 2 best friends yet, and shortly too, but they absolutely love him. I am experiencing things with him I've never done. Of all sorts. And all of this in such short time. Also the sexual aspect is out of this world. I've talked with my girlfriends. Most of them had lots of experience. They can't believe what I tell them. Every time we do it I am his only focus. Again and again. He lets me take care of him after I've finished again and again and again. And the aftercare and the mental play. He's even well acculturated about segs and kinks of all sorts. LOL, I have been gaining so much knowledge thanks to him. I know we are at the very start of everything. I know he also has bad sides. I am not naive. I know he isn't perfect. For example, I am quite sure he is pretty jealous, and if we'd ever have to be in a relationship, things wouldn't be easy for sure. And I am not even saying we have to end up together. I am not that type of dreamy girl, lol. I have never had a relationship in 23 years, and relationships aren't my absolute end goal at all. I know this could all be just an experience. Just trying to put into words that I am not a gullible idiot. I know that we both have intense chemistry, and that for sure I have never felt this way about anyone. I don't know what the future holds. But I do know that I am almost sure he is involved in criminal activity. And at high level, dare I say. And I feel like I am disappointing my inner child and betraying myself, willingly engaging in spending my time with someone that does the same thing my dad did. He will be staying in my city for almost 2 months. After that he'll be going to Spain and then Albania, and then he plans to come back to me. We haven't talked about the future per se, 'cause he said he doesn't want to love bomb me and influence me with big words, seeing that I am inexperienced and etc. But I see that he is investing his time in me, and he's putting in the effort. I think he low-key implied in a conversation we had that he would be okay with permanently coming to live here and going back to Spain once every 3 months for 1 to 2 weeks. He said he has connections and he'd find a workplace with 0 issues. I don't know what's the right thing to do. If I should talk to him about my suspicions or not. How I should behave, seeing that the potential of things getting serious is there. I need help and advice. I lost my virginity at 23 to a 28-year-old man I met on vacation in Spain. We had an intense connection and spent the entire vacation together. He has now visited me in Germany, and I suspect he's involved in illegal activities similar to those my drug-dealing father was involved in. Despite his questionable lifestyle, our chemistry is growing, and I'm unsure if I should address my suspicions or continue the relationship. Bye and see you again in the next videos and stories.